Thank you so much. We've been looking forward to today. We have a guest, Dr. Emmanuel Ngwakunyi. I just checked and I realized that it's been 10 years since we first interacted. I got to know him. I could talk a lot about how nice he is. He's an incredible fellow. But we are not here on that capacity today. He's not coming to us in that capacity. He'll be talking on just sharing his ideas and tapping into a little bit into his experience on building multiple income streams, why we should build multiple income streams, what are the opportunities that are out there, and he would speak to his experience. And what prompted me to really touch base with him, to ask him to speak to us, is because I knew him here in Calgary. He's a researcher, a public health researcher with a vast array of experience when it comes to public health research, from epidemiology to disease, how do they call it, program management. But I realized that in spite of the fact that he's a professor at the university, the guy does shipping, sending containers to Africa. Then when he even moved to another country, and I had the opportunity of visiting him, I realized he set up an import-export business. And I mean, who else can we have on the platform but somebody who has this experience? And so thank you very much, Dr. Ngwakunyi. Thank you, Emmanuel, for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And really today, it's going to be pretty much, as you'd see, the discussion won't be like it has been with PowerPoint presentations. So Emmanuel is just going to speak from his heart and share what he has. And occasionally I'll come in, and then at the end, we would have some questions. So please take it easy. If you have some questions, we would have a lot of questions for him today. Emmanuel, thank you. Welcome to the platform. Please tell us a little bit more and just delve on, and feel free, just speak on, please.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. And thank you for giving me the opportunity actually to be on this platform and to share my experiences with the group. It's really a pleasure. In fact, you've said it all. We've known each other for a while and have different experiences. So when you accept to talk, to give such a talk, is not because you really, in some situations, not only because you are an expert in the area, but because some of the experiences can be useful. Others can learn from them. So as you said, just for your audience again, you've already made most of the introduction. I'm Emmanuel Ngwakunyi. I trained in biostatistics and epidemiology, and through this training, I basically use data to answer questions that are public health related, or to support decision makers in making decisions. So in the last 10 years, I've worked here in Canada and overseas. Here in Canada, I work with the Health Quality Council of Alberta, and then with the University of Calgary in Qatar. Qatar is in the Middle East, out there, very close to the United Arab Emirates. So during all this this time of work, I've been doing some things by the side, some other activities. And that's why I'm also really interested in sharing and learning, being on this platform. So wherever I go, I try to do this. And it comes back to the question, why do we need multiple incomes, income streams? We will all share that today. So as Calypse said, my presentation, the goal was not to be really prescriptive to you as to what you must do or what specific income stream you need to follow. In line with his introduction, what I think you will get out of this is that I will serve the role of an encourager, to encourage you to embrace additional income streams. A second thing would be that I will help answer the question why and how to select the right income stream that may fulfill your aspirations. So this would be the main guide to my talk. So before we actually go into the discussion itself, again around my some of my experiences, I would like to ask the audience if is anyone in the audience currently having multiple income streams? If I know maybe you wanted to have questions at the end, but yeah, so just to make this a little interactive and to get others' perspective before I go on, is anyone currently doing some other activity that generates income other than the primary activity that, say, work or business? If so, you may want to share.
I mean, I would say I have at least, my wife and I, we have at least 3 right now. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. And we're looking to get more, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, and that is a purpose, to make it multiple, which suits the purpose. So if I were to ask, I know you didn't enumerate them, which is not necessary, but do you think that you made the right choice with what you are doing right now? Do you think that you made the right choices?
I think it's a yes and a no. We've had quite an experience. We've had quite an experience trying out a lot of things, and there's at least one that is working. We are enthusiastic about it. There's some enthusiasm, but there are others that are, I would say, probably because we didn't really understand the market. We didn't anticipate the stumbling blocks, the challenges that will come when we delve into it. So yes, those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a great contribution. And if there is any other person who has something to share, otherwise I will move on. Okay, so we'll just move on, and any other questions we can take them at the end. So the first thing that I would everyone, including everyone in the audience and myself, when I engage in these activities, is that you may want to ask yourself, why would you want to pursue additional income? You know, if you ask this question to some audience, some audience may think that, oh, money is good and everyone needs additional income. That is true. But when you ask this question and set some reasoning around it, some define the purpose, it really helps you to be able to have a structure around it and to be able to assess later on if you're meeting your goals or not. We know that over time, the rate of inflation is always rising, and even if we don't quantify by figures, there are some indicators that show us that inflation is high. And these indicators include things like the normal stuff that we will buy daily for our functioning. Prices are going up, prices of commodities, foodstuff, services, rents, and so on and so forth. So this could be a driver of why you would need additional income. Others may want to earn more money for the purpose of increasing their purchasing power, to pay for services, to save for retirement, transfer wealth to the next generation. It's often rarely talked about, but that is one of the reasons that where some may pursue money. But before you transfer wealth, you also need to be comfortable where you are. So overall, what I'm saying, what I'm referring to by giving these examples is that you need to, first of all, define a vision. What is the vision? You have to have a vision and then set a goal that is measurable over time. And my own vision for engaging in multiple income streams is basically to have early retirement. And what does that really mean? Early retirement, what do I do with the time that I have thereafter? You know, being able to do my own things, like being my own boss. That's what I mean by early retirement, and also being able to spend time, a little more time with my family. So with that vision, I then set out some specific goals to attain that vision. So, um, so for example, to support this vision, I set a goal that aside from my employment that I regularly have, I will launch a consulting platform to reach clients. So that's goal number one. And this is recent. And then goal number two is that I'm going to engage in book writing and publishing to generate some revenue from there. So looking back at some of the things that Calypse mentioned at the introduction, you know, when I finished my PhD and I started doing shipping to Cameroon and subsequently to Africa, most of friends and others in the community thought that this wasn't necessary because, you know, what is this guy, PhD, trying to do other things and so on and so forth. But only me had that. I know what I wanted to achieve by doing that. My vision was very, very clear. And then I set those goals. Have all of them succeeded? No. Success is also relative. There are some things that I achieved short term, but long term, because of other needs to maybe to travel and work elsewhere, um, uh, I assessed and decided to terminate some. For example, the shipping, I did. If you were, I did. I would say I did well with that, but at a later stage, because of a lack of a structure uh, out there at the ports in Cameroon, specifically where I was shipping, and with a lot of difficulties encountered, I decided to shut that down at that time. And then overseas, I saw other opportunities, and I engaged in them. So the reason I'm highlighting this is just to say that we need to constantly evaluate what we are involved in. You need to be able to drop what is not working when you are able to do that assessment and continue with what we're working, so what works. Because sometimes we may be trapped. You may think that if you don't go through with this, it's a failure. It's really not. So talking about vision, I think Calypse has one of the best books around this, and I will refer the audience to it, The Power to Live Beyond Your Sight. I think this is one of the books that can be consulted to set vision and the associated goals and how to go about this. So now, what do we mean by multiple streams of income? First, we have, I believe everyone in the audience or others have a certain source of income that supports him or herself or family. That I will refer to as the primary source. And then when you have an additional activity So the primary plus two other activities becomes multiple, just as we will count in multiples. And why is this important? Multiples are able to generate a lot over time because of the power of compounding. And I will mention that again at the end. So in deciding what to engage in, which is really one of the takeaways that I want us to get from this session, I want to refer to a book that I read a couple of years ago that is titled Abundance. The Future is Greater Than You Think. This by Peter Diamandis. So what this author was really referring to here is the fact that because of technological advances and innovations in our time, there is just a lot of opportunities that people can engage in to generate income. And those, he emphasizes the fact that solving practical problems in our society is some of the best things that we can engage in. He highlighted things like activities that have to do with overpopulation, with food, with water, with energy, education, healthcare, and the new careers like artificial intelligence and machine learning and so on and so forth. So he packaged all of this and showed how with the advent of internet and other social media and so on and so forth, there is just a lot of opportunity out there. So I highlight here the fact that we need to be solving a problem when we engage in some kind of activity to generate additional income. Reason being that it will be sustainable when it will be sustainable over time. So some of the strategies to consider, or what are some of the opportunities out there that people can look into? Again, I mentioned at this in the beginning that I wouldn't be very prescriptive on what is out there, because just going to Google or doing a search, you find a lot of stuff that comes up there. I think this is not what we lack. What we lack is the process of deciding, making the decision and getting it started. And that's where I say that my role in this presentation is more of that encourager. But you have a couple of things out there, whether you're thinking about starting a blog.
Before you get into the strategies, please.
Yes.
Before you get into the strategies, I want to highlight some things that you said, so we don't miss them. And then, you know, it's easy to follow the train and lose sight of the journey. So please, just pause for a moment, I want to highlight this very important point that you said: setting a goal and a vision. Thank you, everybody who's here. We've always said that this platform is based on biblical principles. It says, without a vision, the people perish. Why? Because if you get into a plane at the airport and the pilot announces, well, welcome to this plane, we are just about to take off, we don't know where we are going, you will step out of the plane immediately. Why is that? Because the pilot hasn't a vision. There is no destination. That is what he's highlighting. So if we're talking about multiple streams of income, there has to be a motivation behind, and an achievable goal, a set of goals that have been set that align with the vision that you have. I just wanted to highlight this one, please, Emma.
Okay.
And another point you said is, even when you started, like you started the business, you talked about the shipping containers to Cameroon and other parts of Africa. You talked about constant assessment, the need to constantly assess. You know, it doesn't make sense to just delve in it and say, it's my passion, it is my goal, that is what I want to do. Heck, I don't know, I just love it. it's not about the emotion. It has to be constantly assessed in order to evaluate whether it is worth it. Is it meeting the goals that you have set? Is it taking you to where you want to be? I just wanted to highlight this. Sorry, Emma.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the
Go
next
ahead.
point is you said, which it's amazing. I have heard this time and again, that your business, your goal, your plan should be, it should revolve around solving a problem. That is very pivotal. Because if you have an excellent idea that is not needed, it's as good as garbage. So every business, if we want to set a successful business, we want to set a successful venture, it has to be around solving a problem. What does that mean? It means people have a problem. There will be a need. There will be a market that is ready for you. So they want you apart from you, and not just you pushing it on them, but they want you, and that creates already a suitable environment or marketing. There's a market that is ready for you. I thought to point out these three very, very important points that we have, that you've highlighted, before we delve into the next phase.
Yes, thank you. And that's very critical. And I will add to that just to share another experience with talking about launching the platform to reach clients. One of the things that I did a while back, like a year ago, just around COVID, it was that I was developing a platform to offer um, courses online, and I'd done some research and I saw the need for it and the potential. But once I completed it, I was rolling out the courses. We have the COVID pandemic, and then it pushed uh, most of the learning to go online. You know, most of the learning to go online. We are going through a period now where people are rethinking what they do. Um, and so I've been doing some rethinking as well, and assessing what else can I offer on the platform other than courses, to not lose on the energy that I put in there. Can I do some marketing, so on and so forth. So that's how we tweak things around as we go. So I appreciate that, those remarks also that you made. So I was about to get into some of the strategies that we have out there that I thought I should highlight, which is not an exclusive list of things that people can do. Before I even say that, I would want us to remember that we as individuals or as a collective have some skills that are unique. It's good to also rethink about, what are some of the things that you possess and that you are strong in, that you can offer. Because sometimes we only think that there are those that are out there or that are being referred that are useful. So starting a blog could be an activity that can generate money. I won't go into the details there. Where you draw an audience, and when it grows, you can have other companies advertising on it, and so on and so forth. Uh, some people even go as far as taking paid surveys this time to generate some money. There are different ways that companies are advertising their products. So some other activities can be writing. Maybe writing as a freelance writer, you can either write to publish your own uh, books or artistic work and generate income, or be a freelance writer for some others. Another activity that I recently, and I actually learned about the site from Calypse, Fever. Fever offers fever.com. It's a website that offers, this platform offers individuals the opportunity to market their skills, and they do all the work to get the client subscription for you, and you can do that. So I thought that I should highlight this platform. So they're home-based businesses, a lot of them on the internet, can create courses online. If you're creating courses online, just as I use my own example, is the idea to compete with formal training institutions, or it is to do programs that are that can be customized and practical for people that they can buy and go through some training. So again, the emphasis is that there is a lot out there. What I would rather like to focus on as we're moving on is to highlight some of the practical questions that can help you choose, that can help people choose what to do. It is very important to do some research in whatever activity you want to begin. Even if you have been referred by someone, it is important to know what you are getting into. You need to know what you have to do in this activity, and be sure that it does not jeopardize or infringe on the primary income source that you are depending on. Because what happens over time is that multiple income streams can start up really little, generating small amounts. But over time, they build up, the little amounts add up, and they can replace the primary source of income that you have. So it is good to really understand what you have to do, how is money generated, and how often, you know, does it infringe on your primary income activity, which is what I already mentioned. Is there a cost associated with this activity? And if so, is it affordable? Is it a one-time cost, or is it something you have to incur over time? Do you need referrals? If you're going for a business where you need a referral, or an income stream where you need the referrals, you need to assess your ability to, are you good referrals? Otherwise, you need to gain some skills and be courageous to go and do that. So one of the things that I mentioned earlier is the fact that you need to assess your skills, because the skills that we have can be very useful to as a startup. And when you've done all of this and done all the due diligence checks and balances, the final thing is to take action. Because when there is no action, there is no opposite reaction, which is income. And I go back to what Calypse said in the beginning, and referring to the Bible when it talks about our handwork being blessed. And so the key question is, it becomes, what is the handwork that needs to be blessed? What is it? So, because sometimes we go from one activity to the other, or we get information about an activity, and we just keep getting and never putting it into action. So do the research, take some action, and seek for the Almighty to bless that handwork. So I will end here again by reiterating the power of compound, which is something that we learned right in primary school. Primary school. In fact, when I look back now, when I look back at things that if I knew things that I should have done years back, you know, and I just say, wow, why didn't I do this? Because when you start generating and you start reinvesting portions of it, or if not all, over time, that is what really helps you to achieve that vision. So compounding, redeploy, whether in investment or other or the other activity and build on it to achieve the dreams. That said, I will stop here and can just open for general discussion or questions.
Thank you very much. Before we even delve into questions, I would like to highlight a few points you've made. You talked about doing the importance of doing research. That is particularly very important in our communities because you see, relationships are built on trust. Trust, and these relationships that are built on trust become like pipes where we get our information. And sometimes when we have, because they are built on trust, when we have the information, we don't take due diligence to assess and make sure the information we are getting is an actionable information. You know, for instance, if somebody says this business idea which is on vogue, we delve into it on the basis of the trust we have built with the individual, not knowing that probably the individual got it from someone, or it's not even a very good business to get into for me. And that is why I want to highlight the importance of research. And I have fallen short in that one big time too. You know, just hearing an idea from a very, very close friend and thinking, this is it, let me jump into it. I mean, nowadays, we know some of us, you know, there's what they call it, chime mall. There's a host of them that are around that came in and disappeared. And we got in because if somebody we trusted just said it, and we thought because they said it, that settles it because we trust them. So I think I want to highlight the importance of research. Another point you made is using the skill sets we have. Why I think this is important is because you know, like you said, in every business, challenges will come. And you see, if your backbone, if it's not something you have some interest in to start off with, it will be very difficult to stay on course, to be consistent when adversity comes. It will be very difficult. And I think that is why it is good to stay with something we have some familiarity with. What is the familiarity? It could be just a gift. You know, to some people, it's just talking, the gift of talking. They can talk beyond a parrot, argue with a parrot in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, to others, it's writing. Like you said, you're getting into writing, you know. To some, it's the teaching, you know. To some, it's just, I don't know, any kind of business. We know our individual selves. And I like the way Emma did it. You know, this is not about coming here to highlight some businesses and say go into it, but you've given us a structure that we can use. Number one, to assess opportunities that come, to assess information that come our way, if they are actually actionable opportunities or not. And thank you very, very much for that. So with that, I told them you should make it short so that we can have discussions. Please, this is an opportunity to ask. And like he said already, none of us is Bill Gates, so we won't pretend to be, but ask any questions based on our experiences and his experience, you know, we'll give input.
Okay, this is Vivian. I want to go ahead. Dr. Emmanuel, thank you so much for this presentation that you've given. I just want to apologize upfront that I came late, but towards the end, I didn't get it. You know, I just joined not too long ago, but I heard you saying something about compounding, compound. I've heard this before, pretty much from Albert Einstein. I guess most of us were familiar with it, where he said it's the 8 wonders of the world. He who knows it, you know, and said he who doesn't loses it. Do you have, like I said, maybe you've mentioned it already that I missed it. Is there any way you can advise or tell us some of those things that we can do to take advantage of, you know, building wealth through compounding?
Yes, certainly. I think this is compounding in its simplest term, simplest way to explain it is to get what you generate to start generating other income, and whatever comes in, you keep adding. And I use a scenario such as that of stocks, for example, just to explain this phenomenon, you know, say for companies that pay dividend, some persons, because of our need to meet up with, because of our financial needs, some persons may decide to cash in on those dividends whenever they come in. Meanwhile, if you decide to not cash in and accumulate that and buy the same stock or another, or use it to start up another activity, over time, that grows so large. In fact, such that if you were to show it visually on a graph, keeping this in simple terms, you will see a steady growth. So it's something that is cumulative. You add one on one and on one, and it keeps going. 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 1 is 3, and so on and so forth. So it's cumulative growth of cumulative generation of income as a result of not cashing out all of it or part of it. So I use the example of the stock. I also mentioned the fact that sometimes, even when you cash out on the money that you've generated, you can use it to start another activity, because what you are looking at is the multiples. For example, looking at a platform that I build, okay, I've been able to build some courses and put there. If I generate income from it, can that help me to, if I'm interested in the investing side, based maybe stocks and stuff, to add to my portfolio? So the main thing is to be resilient, to be focused, and not having to cash out a short term.
Oh, thank you so much. That was very helpful.